Is it working?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to get on.
Sounds fine. Although I wish I had more picture. Oh, it's amendment one is what it says. Okay. Okay.
Hey, everybody. We're just gonna wait a few more minutes to see if people come on, and then we'll get started. I would like for everyone to kind of, introduce themselves a little bit, at least where they're from, and let us know if you've had experience with open records and what your experience is. But we'll do that here in just a few minutes.
Can anyone hear me? See Robert.
Yes, I hear you, Brandon.
Video, but obviously not.
Hey, Raphael, are you on?
Hello, good evening. Don't know why I'm muted. Oh.
Hey,
Hello.
we got one more person that's coming on, so we're just gonna wait for her for one more second. I've been working, she's in, around New Orleans, and I don't know how many people are from around New Orleans. I'm myself am from Tennessee.
Hi, my name's Stephen. I'm from Louisiana. You're probably speaking of Raphael.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this. This is great. What the work you've been doing is just fabulous from what I can see. I haven't been able to dive into deeply yet, but it seems quite thorough.
Well, I'm still learning, and the open records, I'm actually going off Bonds for the Win, but I'm kind of tweaking it a little bit
Yeah.
because I understand, how to do it. It's just honestly, it's hard to know who to contact in Louisiana. In Tennessee, it's really not that big of an issue. But in
Contact
Louisiana, my
wise?
gosh.
Excuse me. So you're saying contact problem is a problem in Louisiana?
Yes, it's not a contact problem, it's incompetence. But anyway, I'm gonna wait on Raphael before we start talking about this because she needs to know, and I will, oh, she just popped on. Hey, Raphael.
Okay, well, thank you, and I won't hold you up anymore. Thank you.
Oh, you're not holding me up. So, Raphael and everybody, I would like for everybody to kind of say where they're from because I know some people are from Tennessee. I see Tennessee people, but then there are some people where I don't know if you're from Tennessee or from Louisiana. So just say, hey, I'm from wherever if you don't want to say your name.
Robert from Louisiana.
Raphael from Louisiana, New Orleans.
Stephen from Baton Rouge.
Dana from Tennessee.
Nick from Jefferson Parish, Louisiana.
Hi, Nick.
And Jeanette Orr from Tennessee.
Jamie from Jefferson Parish, Louisiana.
Okay, I'm glad everyone is here and I'm glad we have a great mix. So I'm going to share my screen. And forgive me if I take a little bit. Zoom is not where I normally congregate.
Take your time. Take your time.
So let's see. Okay. Can y'all see that?
Not yet.
Yes.
Yeah. No. That's it.
Okay.
Is it the Freedom of Information Act request?
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
I want to go over this just a little bit because this is like a scavenger hunt. Because I'm not just particularly familiar with open records. So this is something that I'm learning. I'm sure a lot of other people are learning too. And if somebody has gotten what they have requested from the open records in Louisiana and been successful, let me know. I know there is one, and she got some of what she was looking for. And I've been getting things, and I'll show you what I have been getting. But they're being very like, it's obvious what we're asking for, but they might not know what we're asking for because they use different names. Okay, so I'm going to go over this a little bit. The Freedom of Information Act, the Sunshine Act, 5 United States Code, Section 552B. That's just a clause that says it is about open records. And Louisiana Title 44, Public Records and Recorders. This is the clause. Okay, so you're asking for whatever it is that you're asking, but you need to put this in, this information in every single time, so to let them know that you know your rights as far as the open records, because a lot of these people who are doing this job do not understand how open records work, and there's been a little bit of pushback. So we need to make sure that they know that we know our rights. And this one is particularly for school, and I'll go over one for Tennessee, but this one's specifically for mainly for a school. And I got this from Bonds for the Win. But I modified it and asked for Mayor LaToya Cantrell's oath of office and her bond. I haven't gotten any bonds. Has anybody been successful in getting bonds?
Just in so much as they told me she was part of that blanket bond, right?
Well,
So-
okay, that's interesting because I've been following that, and all the bonds lead to basically one company. And from my understanding, the owner of that company is BlackRock Vanguard.
What?
That's
Say that
what I've
again?
been. Okay, so the owner of the company, the bond company, is BlackRock Vanguard of the bond company. And the one the big one, and most of them are connected, and it's like a little web. And for instance, I did the one for my county sheriff. If I were to go and look it up, I would wind up going to the same exact claims page as the blanket bond in New Orleans. And I've looked at several of them, and they're getting the same claims email, and I have that email, but we don't need to use it until we're ready to use it. And that means having the information that we need to move forward with, with facts. So this, how many people need it for a school?
Me, Jessica in Orleans Parish wants it for a school.
Okay, have you gotten everything that you need, or do you even know what you need?
I received 4 different insurance documents back when I requested. They said they had no bonds, but they sent me 4 insurance things, and I have no idea if they're what I need or not.
Okay, well, you can email those to me, and I will, are you in my People of Tennessee Telegram group?
Yes.
Okay, I need to look at those. Sorry, I've been having, I've not been working on this the way I normally work on it, but I'm about to dig in more. I'm gonna look at that and see if there's links to the blanket bond. I'm sure there is. And
Can you tell us what, if they don't call them bonds, can you tell us what the other names are that they would call them by? Because I got an errors and omissions policy. I got a risk management policy, like a crime policy, and then one other one.
okay, these are, yeah, okay, so this is what would be in a school board. I imagine it would be in almost every single insurance policy where there is a public trust position. That would be my guess. I would have to understand all, okay, so what I'm learning about these bonds is some states have it written in their code that they can carry insurance. So their insurance acts as the bond in lieu of a bond, but a bond is basically just insurance that they're going to do their job.
Now, can I just say,
Correct.
that we've been calling them surety bonds, but didn't the Dr. David Martin instruction video call it something else?
Indemnity.
Indemnity. Is it the same
Indemnity
thing?
bonds. You know what? I'm not really sure. I think the indemnity bond is specific to their oath of office.
Isn't that what we need
But
then?
okay, Dr. Martin specializes in patents. So like I said, I'm still researching this. I'm just going to show y'all what I have done and what I have been able to get with what Bonds for the Win has provided for me, and then some altering whenever I'm asking for what I'm asking for and who I've gone through, because I've gone through a ridiculous amount of people. But whenever you're working with the school, it's a lot easier because you know who the Board of Education is, you know who the superintendents are. With this, they're supposed to have this at the courthouse. The courthouse is supposed to be open to the public for reviewing of records. That is a right that every American has, to be able to walk into their county clerk's office and review the oaths of office and the insurance bonds of everyone who works there, you know, for the county of or parish of. And if you're a notary, I don't know if anyone on here is a notary, but if you're a notary, you have to have a bond or an insurance policy. Almost everybody has to carry some form of insurance. And that's for if they mess up. It's a form of contract. And their contract is tied into the Constitution. So we need to, and then there's so many laws that have been broken. We need to get those records, and this will be a learning experience for all of us. Because I'm telling you, I've been working on this. I've been trying to work on this, and I know some people have gotten what they need. And I know that the Bonds for the Win are doing amazing things. But aside from the schools, you have to know exactly what you're asking for, or they're going to just kind of flake you off. This is where people who have done it and been successful can help, but they have to reply. And then there's people in the state, they're called, I believe it's OORCs. And their job is to make sure that you get your open records. But the open record, I'm going to show you what we've gotten. So bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute while I get it together. And I'm going to show you, I've gotten the oaths of office I've got 9 oaths of office for Mayor Cantrell from 2018. And 2022, I got this, but this looks not good, y'all. This is Sean Ferguson's oath of office is really sketchy to me. I don't think we've gotten Jennifer's. Susan Hudson's we didn't get, but we did get.
Wait a minute.
Marlon.
Here's the thing that what I didn't realize, and that somebody corrected me, and I haven't even had the time to fact check them, but they're saying Susan Hudson is the incoming sheriff. So we serve the incoming sheriff, but not the one who's been here the whole time, Marlon Gussman. So we got a little dyslexic on that, incoming versus outgoing. But I didn't serve Marlon Gussman yet, but I need to be serving him.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. Look, it's a learning experience for everyone. Yeah. We've never had to, I spelled sheriff wrong too. So excuse me. I have to type these up quick sometimes. And then City Attorney Donicia Turner. I don't know if I've not even really had a chance to
Oh,
look at
well,
any
the
of this
city,
stuff.
the city attorney, okay, that's not the same as a district attorney.
No, this is the
Okay.
city attorney for,
Okay.
this was specifically for
Right,
New
for the city
Orleans.
hall. Gotcha. Yes. Okay.
Then the council members, because if you look at the charter, if you look at the NOLA charter, the city council has the majority of the power. And for them to do like an emergency use authorization, there would have had to been like a unanimous vote. And I don't know if that happened or not. So we could ask for, say, in this situation, we could ask for the minutes involving a unanimous vote on emergency powers for New Orleans, because that's not really the mayor's job. It's really the people's job.
And
We're
that
supposed
last
to-
one on city council, he's the superintendent of the Orleans Parish School Board.
He's both.
Can someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Dr. Henderson Lewis Jr., he's the superintendent of the Orleans Parish School Board, and he's already said that he's leaving in May. His job is over in May.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter because he's still bonded and he's not just gonna set off into the sunset. No, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I just Googled it real quick, and he's the superintendent of the school board.
I'm sorry, I'm up in
Yeah,
Tennessee.
we
so
served him. We served Dr. Henderson Lewis Jr. as an afterthought, just recently after the original group. I didn't know he was city council as well, but we need to send him an email, as well.
No. I don't think he's, I don't know if he's city council or not, or if I just added him to the list because Raphael said, hey, we need to add him to the list. So I'm telling you, I did this very quickly, y'all.
Yeah,
So,
looks like it might just be an add-on.
Yeah, I think it's just an add-on. I think it stops at Oliver Thomas, and I apologize for that. And anyway, I've got 9 oaths of office, and I'm going to start asking for insurance policies. And I've been looking up emails, and I'm going to share these emails with you. And if anybody has had success with the open records, which I've had a little bit, but not what it should have been. Like, these people should know what this stuff is if they're working in open records, and they don't. They're clueless.
Am I
Or
mistaken?
they're
Now,
not
didn't you have a
clueless.
conversation with this guy who pretended like he didn't know what you were talking about? And then when you
Yes.
wrote him
I'm
that
gonna
scathing letter, he said, oh, I didn't understand.
let me
Who
see.
was that?
If I can pull it up. Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. Okay, I'll share again. So this is one of the crap. Sorry, y'all, my mouse has not been working. I bought a new mouse and it's like the worst mouse I've ever owned. Here we go. All right, so I've been sending requests everywhere, and the places, so the way that it's supposed to work and the way it does work are 2 completely different things. And so it's very not user friendly, but if you are trying to get a request from a school, you will go to the Board of Education and you will request it from the custodian of records for the Board of Education. And then if you can't get it from the custodian of records, go to the treasurer of the Board of Education, and then with the bonds for the wind for your state. And you will get exactly what you need. But for things that are a little bit different, like the oaths of office for public officials, they try to act like they don't know what you're talking about. That's why you're supposed to be able to go into these places and inspect them.
I'm
Because you're
sorry.
supposed to be- Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. You said Board of Education and then Custodian of Records.
Yes. So there's they're normally called custodian of records. And I have, see, I thought I made one. I should have pulled all this up, but really just, I didn't get as organized as I would have liked to.
The person who responded to me from Orleans Parish School Board, her title was Administrative Records Coordinator.
See, they have different names. It's just literally like whack-a-mole. But that's good because that's probably common throughout Louisiana. So can you repeat that?
Hold on. Administrative Records Coordinator.
Did you get that?
Yes, I appreciate that.
Okay, can y'all see this?
Is this for schools you were talking about, the administrator records coordinator?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna write that down too. Hold on.
Her name was Sharon Hunter.
Yeah, mine's Jefferson Parish. I haven't had much luck quite yet.
So. So this is a request that I put in to the Secretary, oh man, Secretary of State. And this is an attorney. So first of all, attorneys aren't supposed to be safeguarding the open records. That's not supposed, but that's the world we live in. So I asked for their oaths of office and the bonds. I think I'm gonna try to message the treasurer and see if they have the bond information, because nothing's in the same place where it should be, which is unfortunate. All right, so he says, let's see. Okay, so he says, good morning. Thank you for your swift reply. We've received similar requests recently, but I wanted to make sure that you were requesting the same documents before answering. After conducting a search on the files and in the archives of this office, no bonds could be located in the officials requested. If you have any questions regarding this matter, please let me know. I went off, I'm not going to read it. And he messaged me back and we got, let me see if I can find it. That's not it. There we go. Okay, so we got Mayor Latoya's. We got Helena Moreno. Who is that? Sorry, y'all. Oh, council member. There it is. Okay. We got the council members. So that's very important. We're going to be working on getting their bonds. I'm pretty sure. And oh, you guys, the best part is whenever I did the records request in New Orleans, their residence was redacted. So this is a secret weapon that we have their private mailing addresses. That means they can be served at their homes. But don't go telling people that, because we have to get our information together before, we have to get all of our documentation together. We have to get our record, we have to get our bonds, and then we have to move, as one unit together, which is happening en masse.
So I just want to clear something up real quick. When you say we got to get our records together, you mean that the records of weapon, not the information and facts that we're submitting to them, like the Dr. David Martin thing. I mean, we kind of already have that, but
No, that's important. It's all important. Everything that we're doing, it's just enforcing everything that we're doing. So there's no wrong way to do it as long as there's pressure. We have to keep constant pressure. And
right.
this is a way of putting pressure, and they have certain, and it's written in the codes, and it's kind of confusing, because whenever you read it, it will say something along the lines of a bond can be used, or a bond will be sufficient. However, a charter may choose to use insurance. So they write it in like that. And so you have to know whether or not they have a bond or if they have insurance. But if it's not one, it's always the other. So it's just a matter of kind of trial and error. But I did get the oaths of office, and we do have their mailing addresses. So we can, and then something that I'm also going to be working on is these judges. Some of these judges have oaths of office that are, well, in Tennessee at least, over a decade old. So I don't, and they don't have, well, in my county, in Tennessee, they don't have a bond. So I'm wondering if he has a blanket bond. So I've been putting in records requests in New Orleans and Louisiana and in Tennessee. And I've gotten the oaths of office for everyone in Tennessee. And if you guys are interested in the oaths of office in Tennessee, there is a website. They're all online. Tennessee is a lot easier to get records from than New Orleans. And New Orleans, I don't know if it's because they're incompetent or they're intentionally making it difficult.
And that's what I'm curious about too, because it seems like people around the nation are doing this so quickly, and I don't understand why we can barely take one forward step here. I don't understand what we're missing.
Competent people. You're in a communist area. It's a communist takeover. And I hate to put it like that, but that's what's happened. You're like, I can guarantee you, almost all of these people on this list are probably bought and paid for in some form or fashion.
Can you provide the email or the website for the oaths of office in Tennessee where I can go to get that, please?
Yes. Are you in the People of Tennessee website or Telegram?
Yes.
I think it's already in the links. And if
Okay.
it's not, reshare it.
Okay.
And it's
I'm
called
looking.
Tennessee SOS. It'll be like Tennessee SOS. That's what the link will say, but I'll also share it after we get off here.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I'm going to share some of for Louisiana, because Tennessee's a little bit easier. And if you're in the People of Tennessee, I'll start pinning the emails, because I've got the emails in a document right now, but the people in Louisiana are they need help and they're struggling. And so we need to be requesting these documents. We do have the oaths of office for the council members in Orleans. We need to get a hold of the Treasury and find out whether or not they have the insurance policy or the bonds. And for the schools, you would have to get a hold of the Treasury Department, I'm sure, of the Board of Education or whatever it's called down in Louisiana.
From that attorney Trey that you talked about earlier from the state, he also sent me the oath of office for Gutzman, the current sheriff who's outgoing. I have that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just thinking about Raphael saying that they served the coming in sheriff.
Might as well get a step ahead. She was gonna get it
Yeah,
anyways.
keep them on their toes. We're coming for you. Get your bond ready.
Meanwhile,
start
Gussman
wrong,
is like
we're gonna get
getting
you.
a free pass, but we're gonna change that. We're gonna send him the packet too at this point because he's in neck deep. But yeah, I do. Look, I want to get. I'd love to get Jason Williams, the district attorney that is George Soros picked, who was the guy who passed 5G. But like, okay, the David Martin video thing, I just decided outside of the actions that we were taking to throw in handing it to the district attorney. I'm like, great, because he's the county prosecutor. But of course, you couldn't get to his door. So, the secretary said, oh yeah, just give it to me. I'll put it in his mailbox. And I'm like, no, thanks. I only had one document of 205 pages at that point. So they said, well, if you want to turn it in officially, there's a courthouse here around the corner. So I went to the courthouse that was downtown, the central one. They said, we don't have anyone here to take a report of a crime.
I know where Jason Williams lives.
What's that?
I know where he lives if you want to serve it to him at his house.
I would love that. But here's what I'm going to say. What my learning curve was. So I'm kind of glad I didn't. But when I went to the police, because they said, oh, there's nobody here at the courthouse to file a criminal complaint. So take it to any one of these police stations. So I did. And sorry. And they what is this? Oh, that's your screen. Okay. And they took it. They should have seen the look on their face. They're like, what? They don't even know what to do. They called their supervisor and they're like, look, they looked at everything that was in the David Martin document, and I didn't hand in everything else that I'd been handing in, and I didn't type a letter up kind of explaining it. I just kind of handed over the papers that we had, and then they said, well, these are all U.S. code statutes. These are federal offenses. We can't do anything about that. I said, well, there was a crime that was committed in the state. To this state, I can't walk out the door and go shopping at any. I mean, my rights have been destroyed, my fundamental rights. I've been marginalized in my own city. My son and I can't shop anywhere without having something injected into our body that we don't want. And that is, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, no, look, I'm concerned that the policeman was wrong. I was like, I didn't know there was any danger. I mean, you do what you're told and you hope you hope for the best. So this is concerning to me. I want to see this go to the right hands. But, you might want to ask your lawyer where it needs to go, because this is not, I said, so then I started citing, they said, well, we'll take a police report, but we can't promise that the detective's going to look into it. Beyond that, they scanned everything. I let them have it. And then I added, well, there's the Louisiana Constitution that makes it irrelevant to me right now. Let me tell you which constitutional rights have been violated, and I said, and this is where it stems from. I'm showing the Dr. Dave. So they took the report, whatever, God bless them. If nothing else, it was nice outreach with the police where they, had to take it seriously and consider these things they never considered. But it's hard pressed to find liability for Jason Williams through that, short of, yes, like somebody says now, delivering it to his door.
Well, we've got a lot of their addresses.
Yeah.
And we're gonna continue to work on them, and we're getting there. I mean, honestly, to have the oaths of office for all those people, I believe once we go to the Treasury and start asking questions in the Treasury, we'll start getting the insurance policies and the things that we want. In the school system, Bonds for the Win has perfected it. They have templates for every state. So if you need this information, and the information is these different policies. And I don't have a school age child, so a lot of this stuff I don't know, but if I look at it, I'll understand just from what I've already researched.
So if
And,
we have the errors and omissions, the crime policy and the risk management policy, is that all we need to serve them, our letter of intent?
Do you have the bond or well,
No,
if you have the
no one-
insurance
No
policy,
one, no, apparently no one here has a bond. We have
but
the
they
other
have an
things.
insurance policy,
I
That's
have the
okay.
errors and omissions, the crime policy and the risk management policy.
is there anything with a monetary amount on it?
Yes.
Okay, well then that's what you need. Is there an address of who holds? I'll look at it. I think I already told you that what you have is great. I just haven't gotten to dig into it yet. And whenever I will get with you, or you can get with me. Oh, I'm getting you confused with Jessica. I'm sorry. I have not
No,
even looked at
I am Jessica.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't see who's talking.
I feel unclear about if what I have is exactly what I need to move on to the next step.
All right, well, let's pull it up really quickly because you shared it on the People of Tennessee, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, I'm almost certain you did, and I got to look at it really quickly. Okay. My mouse is pooping out. Okay. Yes, this is enough to move forward. In fact, what I would do is I would if you're gonna so Liberty Mutual, you need to find out if this is the main insurance, and I will help you with that. This is something that I myself am still learning because there's only a few companies that are funding the bonding companies, and it is confusing, y'all. It is kind of confusing, and I do recommend going to Bonds for the Win because it breaks down the explanation of what bonds are. But yes, you have the policy number right here. So what I would do is I would call Liberty Mutual Insurance and get the email. And then once you have the email, you can go ahead and get started. I believe that you have, why is this not signed though? I guess they did it all online. But yeah, you have everything that you need, and it talks about it. But whenever you do your letter of intent, Bonds for the Win has the letter of intent that you can use for Louisiana. And you can also, okay, I have a certain way that I plan on doing it, and I'm not sure what way that they're planning on doing it. Right now, they're doing a letter of intent, and then they're filing a complaint with insurance based on the policy. So it talks about, if you read through this, it will talk about what they have to do and what offenses, which I don't think this is. Let's see. Loss because of a wrongful act to which the insurance applies, but when let's see. All right, so this is. Any claim arising out of any responsibility, obligation, or duty imposed upon any insured by the Workers' Adjustment and public law or consult. Similar provision, state or local statutory. I'm gonna have to read through this. I'm sorry, a lot of this is reading, y'all. It takes a long time to read and understand this. But statutory obligations, they have a statutory obligation. So what I would normally do is I would like put that to the side and then try to find it on the page. Normally I type it in, but like I said, my mouse is being not very good. So let's see, we can do more tools. Where is it at? Oh, find on page. Okay, so we'll say, um, uh,
Well, I can see right off the bat, discrimination is listed on there, criminal, fraudulent.
fraudulent, malicious, or dishonest acts. Does not apply. Okay, so this insurance does not apply to criminal, fraudulent, malicious, or dishonest acts. Any criminal, fraudulent, malicious, or deliberately dishonest acts committed by, at the direction of, or with participation, knowledge of the insured. So let's see what that means. Our duty to defend ends when we have used up the limit of. You have to know what laws they've, well, you have to know what laws they've broken. And I recommend putting it in the form of affidavit. So what I'm saying is if you're going to do this, you might as well do this properly. And the way you do this properly is you do research and you read through and you find, I don't think this is the right one. I think this is just like the beginning before you get to the meat and potatoes. It's just like an index.
And can you define what makes an affidavit versus just like a notarized, is it a notarized letter? What makes it an affidavit?
An affidavit means it's notarized and it's prima facie evidence. It's a fact. So for instance, right now, you and I and everyone here is having a conversation. This conversation is not on the record, but it could be on the record because it's been recorded and we could send it to the Secretary of State and put it on the record. But it's not on the record. So that means it doesn't really exist. So if you write something and you put it on the record, you send it to the Secretary of State, the Secretary of State stamps it and sends you a copy back with his stamp, and it's on the record, then it's prima facie evidence. And at some point, all this is going to come to a head and we're going to have a grand jury trial. And if the insurance companies don't do what they're supposed to be doing, then we can put pressure on them because everyone has a charter. Every company starts with a charter. And I know that this is a lot of information to take in, and it's very, very complex the way it's been woven, but it's also been, it took 100 years for them to create this mess. So it's literally a miracle that people are starting to piece it together. So I lost my train of thought, y'all. Sorry.
Grand jury trial, talking about the affidavit, prima facie
Oh,
evidence.
yeah. Okay, so if you do an affidavit is prima facie evidence. So I recommend whenever people file their claims with the insurance, they do it in the form of an affidavit because that affidavit can go to the insurance, it can go to the sheriff, it can go to the attorney general, it can go to the U.S. Marshal, it can go to the Secretary of State, it can go to a lot of people, and there's a certain way to do it accurately.
Okay, so
And you
the
use
accurate thing, and that's, can we get it at Affidavit Alliance? Is it like a format, or is it just the notarization that's important? What,
it's just the notarization and the chronological events of discrimination for you in your personal capacities. So for me, for instance, I'll give you a scenario. I went to Sally Beauty in late 2020, and I got kicked out of there for not wearing a mask, and I was charged by a woman. She ran at me while I was holding my 3-month-old.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you how many people this has probably happened to, because they got, I mean, especially that early on, because people really thought that they were going to die. And so instances like that, I know people who have called me and said, my kid has a rash on their face. You know, people need to start thinking about the past 2 years and putting it in chronological order with specifically in New Orleans, with what the mayor did with executive orders and what the governor did with executive orders. And then, you know, how that infringed upon your constitutional rights, and use the Louisiana Constitution and the United States Bill of Rights. But I've got one that's pretty much written. So if you just get your chain of events, I can help y'all with everything else, because the governor did the executive order on the same day. That's not going to be something that's different for all of you. You know, that's
Wait,
going
the
to be a
affidavit is
definitive
personal to
thing.
my story versus like just generally what was done to New Orleanians across the board?
It depends on how you want to do it. You can go as far back as you want, because it's a written fact. It's your written fact. It's a fact of truth. You're having it notarized with your name and your autograph. And you want it on the record because you're sending it to the Secretary of State, and you're sending it to the Attorney Generals, and you're sending it to the U.S. Marshals, and you're sending it to the sheriffs, and you're sending it to their insurance policy. And that is
So-
prima facie evidence. And
Okay,
you're
and I could
going to put,
also include things that aren't personal, but that are like the global stuff, like, you know, Wuhan won the race to 5G, and then the Department of Defense had found that you were
yes,
in
you can
increased
go as
risk.
far back as you want.
Okay.
Mine, so I have not turned my stuff in fully, because my affidavit is going to go back several years. Some of y'all might want to just go back to the beginning of this, when your life was affected. But you need to know, you just need to know the chronological order. Once you get the chronological order of the events that have occurred to you, like a timeline, I can work with that. We can work with that. And then we'll discuss later, like how you write it up. And then there's also a template. So once you get your chronological order of events written up, we can copy and paste it into a template that works for everyone. So everyone
I-
should be working on that.
I have another question. Is there any way we can go after the Louisiana Department of Health in the way that they approved the vaccine and backed it up for 5 and up in
Yes.
Orleans Parish? And this is the only place in the nation that
Yes.
has done this.
Yes, absolutely. They have, they either
'cause-
have a blanket bond, or they have, some of them are supposed to have a surety bond. But they might not, because the mayor is under a blanket bond, and she's not, you know, that's not normally what happens. The mayor is supposed to hold their own individual surety bond, fiduciary bond, indemnity bond.
So what are the titles like in the Louisiana Department of Health of who we would look for that for?
Let me see if I think I've already looked this up. So let me see if I can pull it up.
And
real
while
quick.
you
Can
do
y'all
that,
see
I
my
want to say
face?
something about the LDH. Anyone who's working on that, I have evidence that the LDH was completely incapable of defining what constitutes a COVID case. I have them recorded. I called them. I asked them to prove, to tell me what constitutes a COVID case. And they said, oh, call the COVID hotline. I called the COVID hotline. They're like, great question. Or they're like, I don't want to send you, I don't want to give you the wrong information. They gave me the number to a hospital's COVID unit. The lady there said, great question, but we're not the Department of Health, and I don't know. And then I went back to the Department of Health. They said, and I called them and they said, oh, put it in writing and ask for a reply in writing. And I did. I've got that. No one has ever replied. So in a government of the people, for the people, by the people, that's supposed to constitute our will alone, by the conditions. Also, another fact to keep in mind is that the emergency, people say, oh, he had the right with under emergency powers. Actually, he didn't, because he didn't accurately file the emergency. Saying that COVID is coming is like saying tuberculosis is coming. That's not an
Mhm.
emergency. Well, an emergency is saying
And-
COVID is coming, and the emergency is we don't have enough beds, but we're expecting a 20% increase in hospitalizations. You know, that's an emergency that's been quantified and made known to the public so that the public can know what the conditions were that led to the emergency and or what would constitute the emergency's end. So it allows for the public to follow. And granted, the governor has a right to call an emergency quickly, because let's say there's a tidal wave coming and he has to say, everyone get up, 100 feet. And so everybody gets up 100 feet, and then he's got to say, oh, because there was a tidal wave and there might be one more. So we're going to hang out one more minute because there's you got to define it. You got to do it promptly. It says promptly in the definitions of the governor's duties and obligations, in regards to emergency powers. So the World Health Organization says COVID is coming is not making the conditions of the emergency known to the public. That doesn't count. So these are all things to keep in mind moving forward if we speak again or not. But just wanted to share that the LDH could not even define, so they're not even in a position to call an emergency when they can't even define what the hell makes a COVID case to the public. And the governor
I
didn't
agree.
have the authority to do everything he did because he didn't even define the damn emergency. So there's that.
Well, that, and I don't know about for Louisiana, but for Tennessee, they're supposed to have a unanimous vote for a health emergency. And I don't know that happened. I'm almost certain that it didn't happen. Anyway, okay, so we're looking for, what was the question about? What were we looking up? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm all over the place.
LDH, who the people that are to who can we get bonds on for LDH? Who would be the, I guess that's
Okay. So I'm looking that up. So for this, you would look up Orleans Parish, and you might, okay, and this is interesting too. You might want to use a different browser. Some of the results that pull up, if you're in a different browser, you get different results. So just keep that in mind. If you're not getting good results, switch to a different browser and look this stuff up.
So what
Orleans
browser
Parish.
are you using?
This is Microsoft, but that's just because all of my stuff saved in this browser, because that's where I started. But I normally use Brave. I use like 3 or 4 different browsers. So I got too much going on.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. I just know you as like Tennessee, people of Tennessee. What's your name? Your name's Jamie too. Okay. And I'm
Yes.
Jamie too. I know
Yes.
we needed to connect, and I'm sorry if I didn't connect with you, but I'm hoping after this we could set up something.
Yes. Absolutely. I just wanted to touch base with everyone really and just kind of let them know where we're at and what we have and what we can do with what we have, or what we can be preparing for as we're trying to collect the information that we need. And for Tennessee, I will get all the emails to you because I'm working on this, but it's a matter of like typing stuff in. So for instance, I'm going to do Louisiana Department, or not Louisiana Department of Health. Well, you know what? That might be a good one. Just go straight to Louisiana Department of Health, custodian of records. Online Public Records Center right there. So I'll share that. and y'all could send in a records request using the top part of the template where it talks about the FOIA and the Sunshine Act. I'm going to share that in the People of Tennessee group. Is everyone in the People of Tennessee group?
I am.
All right, so in Tennessee, we would say for, oh, that's the Department of Children and Family Services. That's not even the right thing. Some of these get hard to do. So most of the time what I do is I'll ask, because they're supposed to help you. If they have an email, they're supposed to help you. But Louisiana is really, really messed up because they don't actually have people that know what they're doing. Okay.
Another thing that I've learned recently is that Louisiana is, maybe it's the only state or one of the only states in the US that has a background. Their law comes from French law, whereas most other states don't. Do you think that has anything to do with why this is more difficult or harder to find than in other places?
It could be, possibly. I've thought about that because in Tennessee, if you go hunting around in Tennessee records, you're going to find what you're looking for. I've accidentally found, yesterday, I accidentally found the legislation that they wrote to make sure that people weren't breaking the law enforcing mask mandates. I also found a list of companies that ask for exemptions. So that's evidence right there posted, boom, on the government website. Louisiana, I think that they are, I think that they've been so entrenched in criminal activity, they've just gotten really good at it.
It's kind of a bad joke that, our politics are so corrupt. Everybody laughs, har, har, har. It's been going on for years.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's funny at all. I'm horrified. I'm like I'm trying to get as much to everyone as possible so we can move forward, and it's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try a different browser. But if we have several people putting in requests in different places, eventually we're going to get what we're looking for. Let's see, custodian records. See what this does. And this is how I do it, y'all. I know that this is slow going, but this is how I look for them. And it's tedious, but as you can see, it does pay off because I have gotten some things and some people have not replied. What's this? Submit a request for public medical vital organs or to subpoenas to the Louisiana. That's it. That's it, y'all. Okay, I'm going to drop this in the chat. In the Telegram chat, not this chat. I don't even know how to get to the chat box. Oh, there it is. Where do y'all want me to drop it? I'll drop it in both places.
Put it in the People of Tennessee group, please.
Okay.
And there's the you can go to the chat.
NOLA.
Put in the chat.
Okay. I put it in both places, and then I'm gonna send it to you privately too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, like I said, it takes a minute. You have to, I would ask, oh, gross. Oh, I can't get away from it. Okay. I would use the template that I've created. I would use the top part of the template, which I'll go back to the template so everyone can look at that. I'm also going to put that in the chat.
I might have a stupid question. For some reason, I thought that we were only requesting the oaths and bonds of elected officials. So are there people in the Department of Health who are elected officials who have this?
Okay, so if they're in a public trust position, they have to have an oath of office. And that's not a stupid question at all. Let me see. So, some people that would have an oath of office, in Louisiana that I've looked up. I'm just gonna give you, I'm gonna say some weird stuff and y'all are gonna be like, really? I'm gonna say, yes, really. So the manager of the school cafeteria carries an insurance policy. They might not realize that they do. It's probably under a blanket bond, or blanket insurance policy, but they have to carry insurance policy. If that lets you know how many people, if they work for the county, for the parish, they have to have an oath of office and they have to be covered under some form of insurance, whether it be an individual surety bond or indemnity bond, fiduciary bond. And these are just different types of bonds and they mean different things for different purposes. But
So am I understanding you correctly? Every single city employee would be held to this?
yes, that's why we've got the city council's oaths of office. And that's why we're trying to get the doc. And then, okay, for instance, I watched this, I watched Orleans Parish School Board meeting. I think it was last week or the week before that, and they just voted a new guy in. We need to go ahead and get his oath, Dr. Wagner. We need to get his oath of office and his bond as soon as he should already have it. I think it has to be filed within 30 days, but don't quote me on that, with the Secretary of State. So we'll go ahead and hop on that too. And we just have to keep collecting this stuff. And most of this is specific for schools, but I went ahead and asked for all of it. And then just to see what would happen. But what I would say is I would get this part right here, copy that, and then go down here. Unless you need it for a school. If you need it for a school, keep all of it. Absolutely every bit. Just change this to meet your needs, the names. And this part. And then go down here where it says I'm a private citizen, all the way down. And that would be it. But a photocopy of your oath of office, the blanket bond, the power of attorney, statutory bond, public employee blanket bond. This is specifically for schools, I believe. But I've been sending it in. I'm having a hard time understanding what is what because they're blocking the records so much. So whenever I'm asking for what I'm asking for, I'm not getting it to be able to look at it, to be able to understand it fully. Does that make sense?
I wonder if they're not blocking it or just that they don't call it a bond here in Louisiana for some reason.
Insurance. It's probably insurance because I read and that's something that I'm going to be. That's why the bond thing doesn't need to be really in there. It needs to be like which I'll change the template for all of you. And I'm experimenting with this, but it would be like errors and omissions and sure. Yeah, see, this says insurance policy. We would say insurance policies, fiduciary insurance policies, indemnity insurance policies, or bonds, surety insurance policies or bonds. So instead of saying, the way I learned this was reading books. So I learned it literally by the book. And they don't do it by the book. So I'm learning what they're doing versus what they've been doing and then learning how to do it correctly. Does that make sense?
So this letter is not specific to the school board. Is this the one you got for bonds for the win?
Well, okay, I took the bonds for the win and changed it just a little bit to add the time. Okay, so it says, for instance, Louisiana's public records law should be interpreted liberally with any doubt resolved in favor of the right of access. So this is letting them know that there has been a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that says that open records are supposed to be applied liberally. So they're not supposed to block that access. But like I said, attorneys are the ones that are over these records. And I don't know if they're trying to protect their interests. And I'll say this too, attorneys have an oath of office. They take an oath whenever they get their little bar exam. It says that they're going to uphold the Constitution. Everybody is held to the Constitution. The Constitution is the law. And they also have an insurance policy or a bond. So I say bond, but it could be insurance policy. And if you start reading through these codes for your state, either in Tennessee or Louisiana, and you look up bond or I always look up bond because they'll go basically straight to it. And I have that. If you look in the files of people of Tennessee, I can almost guarantee you that it's been it's in the files, or not the files, it would be in the links where you can go straight to that and read that, because all that information is there. And this is for the schools, it's going to be a lot easier because the bonds for the win people have already gotten it down to a science for schools and who to send it to and how to send it to them. I'm getting them specifically for elected officials, because I don't have any children in school. My child's young. So it's a little bit different. But I've been having success with it, and I just change it a little bit. Like I'll take out this part and just say, I need the insurance policies, and just send it that and see what happens with it. Something that I don't like, and something that should bother the rest of you, is that they have blocked your right to go into your county clerk's office, ask for the book that they keep these documents in, and flip through it. And that's how you
And
hold them
find exactly what you need yourself.
Yeah, without having to be a wordsmith.
Did you do that?
Did I do what?
To go down to the county and just look up some files, flip through the book?
Yeah. Yep, I did. I sure did. Walked right in, maskless. Said, hey, how you doing? You have a nice day? That sandwich looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part of me is wondering, if I wasn't nursing a child, I would want to walk into the courthouse and tempt them to arrest me.
Is it at the courthouse or city hall?
City Hall, I mean.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
and at city hall, you have to show your vaccination card or your
Yeah.
proof of a negative
But
PCR test.
that pisses me off so much. If I wasn't nursing.
You know what you should do? You should get a hold of one of those police officers. You should ask for a police escort and say that you do not feel safe, or I wouldn't say I don't feel safe, but say, I would like to look at the open records. They're requiring me, they're asking for me to do this. This is unconstitutional. I would probably put it in writing before I went, if that's what you wanted to do. I would go ahead and put it in writing, and then I would call the sheriff and ask for an escort.
But the
Put
thing
what
is
in writing,
that
my request?
city hall employees, some of them are exempt from this. They get their once a week COVID test, just like I do. I'm a city employee. They don't have to have a PCR test to go to work, but they're doing it for the public, and that is wrong, and that is different.
Okay, so you need to nobody should be getting a PCR test. Nobody. Okay. I
No,
want
and
to
you
say
know,
that
just
right.
so we know that it's just been linked to getting a vaccine through John Hopkins University. So
I
there's
don't,
evidence coming out on it that some of the tests are like vaccines.
Right, I'm a they don't make us city employees get it. Unvaccinated city employees have to take just the self rapid test every week, which I know we still shouldn't have to submit to that, but I wanted to keep my job and I do. It's not a PCR test. But for the public to come into City Hall, they make them show a PCR test result or a vaccination card, not a rapid test result. So
It's
it's just
because
a little
they're-
bit of a difference.
Any of it is any of it, and then the PCR test is still under it's not even approved. It's emergency
they got
use.
recalled. December
Well,
31st was
and that's the
last-
whole thing
the last
about
day.
the 5 and up kids being mandated to have this to go to school because that's emergency use. It's not even authorized. And that's why
Well-
I don't understand why people aren't rising up about this because it's
Do
ridiculous.
you think that you could, Raphael, possibly call a deputy and say, hey, this is what's going on. We really need to get this stuff. And they're blocking access to open records, and that's
I really
against
want to
the
make a
law.
point of this. I really want to take that to freaking task because I can't believe it hasn't been done already. And I would not be opposed to going to jail for it if I wasn't freaking nursing.
Okay,
You know,
well,
maybe
nobody
after
needs
Marty-
you to go to jail. We need somebody else to go to jail. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody needs to go to
There
jail.
was an announcement from a city council member today, I think, that said they're opening city council meetings up to public again. I don't remember what the date
You
was.
want to know
It might have-
why? Because the bonds, they know that we're coming for them. They're terrified.
Maybe the city hall is coming. You have to go into city hall to get to the city council meetings, I believe. So
Yeah, and the records are there as well. I mean, they're all stashed in different floors. You got to play. You
so
know.
I'll see if I can find that. I don't remember the date they said, but they said announcement, we're opening it up. People can come again. So that might be it.
I wouldn't be surprised if everything resumes after Mardi Gras, or at least that would be a deadline of something with things, you know.
Exactly, because the court date for her being sued is March 3rd. So if she ends it on the 2nd, the day after Mardi Gras, then she gets out of everything.
No, she doesn't, because the harm was already done. This is a trick they try to do. They try to say, oh, it's a moot point now. They did this with a school teacher or with somebody who sued the school on a mask mandate in another county. And then the mask mandate was no longer applicable, and they try to hold her responsible for frivolous lawsuit. And she said, and what we were told, I think might have been Jamie, it's still, the harm was still done. That doesn't go away. Like, just because I raped you for a while and then I stopped raping you doesn't mean you weren't raped,
Yeah.
you know.
Especially whenever it's children and it's being linked to HIV. Okay, there's no like walking away from that. I don't know if y'all know that, but they spliced the spike protein. I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on this, but they spliced it with HIV because it fit. That's literally.
There's so many things, right? The myocarditis, and this was Luc Montagnier that was saying you got to get tested for AIDS if you had the vaccine. I mean, there's so much. And then also the World Health Organization said it should not be given to children. And not that I care what they say, but even they couldn't make a claim that the children needed to get it. And stood to the contrary.
It's because they're getting scared. They're getting scared. But the records request for the schools, if you need it for the schools, I'm just going to go ahead and go to Bonds for the Win and show you, because they have it down to a science for the schools. I don't do schools because I'm busy getting it for elected officials, appointed officials, and people on commissions and boards in these towns. Well, New Orleans basically is what I'm trying to do. And it's coming together, but it's not, let's see, hold on.
While you're in there, would you just copy and paste it like you did the other thing, just because you're already in there?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
sure, no problem.
Because this is Jamie again. We submitted it for Jefferson Parish to the public records, and the same guy answered us, that Trey person,
Trey?
who you said was the attorney, and he told us that we needed to go to the clerk of court, which I thought was kind of strange because it was the school board. So I feel like they're almost giving us a runaround.
They are giving us a runaround, and the Trey guy works for the Secretary of State. Everything has to go through the Secretary of State. It has to be recorded. There's okay, so let me see. There's a custodian of records, New Orleans custodian of record. I'm, you guys, I work so fast. I need to get more organized, but I can find everything whenever I need to find it normally. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to forward this into the people of Tennessee. This is some information that I got from Bonds for the Win, and it was somebody who opened a request in Ascension Parish, and they got a hold of the people that they needed. Well, I figured, hey, you guys can mimic what they've already done because they got everything that they needed. I'm going to forward that. And this is for Louisiana.
But
I
that
hope
was
this is-
to the public records too? Is that who
This
they
is
sent it to?
specifically for schools. This is
Right,
something to
that's what I'm
mimic.
asking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. No, I said they sent that to public records. Is that who they sent it to?
Yes. Okay. So it says Louisiana Education Alliance, representative of organization, Paige Lowry, Jackie to the public information officer. Okay. So I believe that these people are over New Orleans. And then you would have to find it, or not New Orleans, Louisiana. I believe that's right, because these names look familiar. And then you would have to find the Orleans parish or whatever parish you're in, and then use the template that's right here that she used, and then just switch the name to Orleans or whatever parish you're in, and then change well, that should work because it's Paige Lowry. But you would need it for, I'm sorry, you guys, I've looked at so much of this stuff. I really think that Paige Lowry is specific to this parish. So you would have to look it up for your parish. I have an Excel of that, of all the contact information of the schools in Louisiana. In a let me see if I can pull it up. I hope y'all are finding this helpful.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. It's
Yes.
very good.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, very.
Okay, so what am I looking up? Okay, that's not it. Let me see if this is it. Got it. This one's for, okay, this one's for Tennessee. This is an open records template. It's mainly for okay, this one's for anything. You can just delete this right here and put whatever you want.
Wait, didn't you have one for Louisiana? You were just,
Yes, I have one for Louisiana, but I'm going to modify it just a little bit before I drop it. Oh,
okay.
because it needs to be more. There's one that's already ready for schools in Louisiana, the Bonds for the Wind did. And then there's one that I am still modifying, which I'll get it done by tomorrow, which will be a general FOIA request for Louisiana that can be used anywhere. Let's see. I was looking up something else too. Oh, okay. I'm not even in the right area. No wonder I'm not finding what I need. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to drop this. This is all the schools in Louisiana and their all the contact information. And there's a lot of information that you don't need, like the site code, but it's got the mailing addresses, the phone numbers, the fax numbers, and I think it's got the emails. Does it not? I have one that, oh, it does have the emails. Okay, so I'm going to drop this in for y'all. And this is all the schools in Louisiana. And I'm working on getting the one for Tennessee. And then also I've got a spreadsheet for Louisiana, and it's got all the sheriffs, which these are going to be changing here soon, but it's got all the sheriffs, their emails, most of their mailing addresses if you need to send an affidavit or a notice or something like that to them, whatever parish they're in, and their fax number. And then this is the entire Louisiana General Assembly. And then this, I was getting together to put, I was going to do something with it, but you know, life happens. It didn't work out. But these people are important. This is the Louisiana School Board Association. So these people are very important. So you've got that. I'm sure some of y'all maybe recognize these names. I'm not sure. I'm going to drop that in too if you would like that information. And I will also share some of the emails that or not emails. Well, yeah, I'll share these too, and I'll just copy and paste them. And this is where I'm sending in requests for the bonds, because this is the Bureau of Treasury for New Orleans. This is specific for New Orleans. And there's a email that I can't think of this guy's name. I think it's something Arden. Let me see. And he's the custodian of records over Louisiana. Okay, so let's see. Anyway, that's about all I have for y'all, but I figured it was enough to kind of get a lot of people started. And then for people who already have their policies, I'm gonna read over those and see if it looks like anything's missing. And if anybody has, I would also like to say attorneys are bonded. They are bonded, prosecutors are bonded, judges are bonded, they're supposed to be bonded. And if they don't do their jobs, like say for instance, a judge doesn't do their job, or a sheriff doesn't do their job, you can file complaints. And I recommend everyone filing complaints in the form of an affidavit, because that's prima facie evidence. And eventually you want your case to go into a grand jury trial. How that grand jury trial happens, I am not sure. I know there are a lot of things happening in this nation. It's a race to who gets it first at this point. But you want to have your documentation that you went through every step that you possibly could with prima facie evidence, which is your written testimony as a living man or woman under God's law and the Constitution. That's what your affidavit is. And prima facie
I'm sorry,
evidence.
can you
mean-
repeat that one more time? Like my pen's handy now. What's
Okay, so
is it? Just the
an
last part.
affidavit, okay, I don't even know what the last part
Oh, as
was.
a man, as a natural, I'm sorry. What you
Oh,
were
okay,
saying.
so whenever you're writing your affidavit, you have to say certain things, but all you guys need to worry about is getting your chronological events for what happened to you or possibly your child. The chronological events of where you were discriminated against and coerced or whatever has happened with you. Get that
So
together and then there will be a template.
does that mean like personal things, not the emergency orders that they filed? That means like what happened to us personally?
Well, okay, so this is what I've done for mine, and this is what I recommend other people do for theirs. I looked up the executive orders and I looked up what was going on with the governor and with the mayor and in the town and what was happening in my life. And I did, like, say, for instance, February 15th, 2020, Governor Bill Lee, this is not an actual date. I'm just making it up because I'm not looking at anything right now. Governor Bill Lee enacted executive order number 84, which states bars, gyms are closed due to coronavirus pandemic. And you can look those up. They have them. They're on the public website that you don't even have to open records them. They're public. Almost all of them are public. They should be public. I've not run into any that aren't public. And so you would use that as maybe a starting point. Mine's going to go a little bit farther back because I've been following this for 10 years, not even on purpose. So mine's going to be a lot more thorough than somebody who's probably not as aware of what's going on. So everyone's affidavit and their chronological order of events is going to start differently. Mine's probably going to start back when Obama got elected. Raphael's might start back when she found out about transhumanism. I don't know. But for the average person, it's going to be within the last 2 years, and it's going to start with executive orders. So it's just a personal preference. For one of my affidavits, I started with the executive orders and then events in my life that were affected, like being obstructed from going into a business, being charged at with my infant, being kicked out of a charity thrift shop. I'm not even lying. I got kicked out of a charity thrift shop. I also got sent a flyer. And this is just me. So think about what you've gone through in the past 2 years and put it in chronological order. I got a flyer from Tyson Foods up the road in the county that I live in, saying that they were hiring. And then in small print, it said that you had to have proof of vaccination to even come on site. So I couldn't even go get an application unless I showed a vaccination card. And then also I called up there because there was an ad and I said, well, the ad didn't say anything about vaccination status. Have y'all changed that because of the legislation that had been written? And she said, no. And so I'm getting a chain of events of my own personal account in correlation with the executive orders of the president, of the governor, of the mayor, of anyone who thought it necessary to infringe on my rights for the past 2 years. And I'm also going to start looking into records requests, and I recommend everyone doing this, records request for myocarditis and HIV in coroner reports. Because I'm going to go with my affidavit, I'm going all out. But like I said, I can go into my courthouse. I can go into my courthouse and get whatever I need. There's not this, it's not hard to get records in Tennessee. It's actually quite simple to get records in Tennessee. They do everything out in the open.
Well, I found what I was talking about. City council is opening, it says that they're opening up February 17th in Orleans Parish, open to the public, can come in.
Wow, that's awesome. Do they have to have a swab?
It doesn't say that on the little screenshot I'm looking at, but I didn't screenshot all the text underneath. I'll have to go back and read it. It was from OT for us on Instagram. I don't remember his full name. He is a council member.
I think that they're getting scared because I don't know how much y'all know, but the children are walking out of the schools all over the country, and that's their revenue. So they act like they've got all this muscle and all this, but they don't have anything if nobody's there. And that ESSER funds, I'm sure does everyone know what ESSER funds are?
Yes.
Is there anybody that doesn't know what ESSER funds are? Okay. Well, the ESSER funds, they took those ESSER funds, and because they took those ESSER funds, they contracted to implement these measures for that money. It was written in the contract. And then for Tennessee, I don't know about Louisiana, because I haven't gotten to look into it. I don't know if you'll know this, but I'm pretty busy with all this. But for Tennessee, they had to submit a proposal for how to spend the funds in accordance with the CDC guidelines. So they submitted that, and that's going to be something that I'm going to start open records requesting for Tennessee. And these records are not free, and it's unfortunate. And this is why everyone needs to go to their county clerk to get as much of this, or your parent. I don't know what it is in Louisiana. What is it in Louisiana, Raphael?
But clerk of court, is that what you're talking about?
Was it county clerk, clerk of court? I can't remember what the title was I had it in my notes at one point. I couldn't remember.
I think it's clerk of court because mine is the county clerk. And it
Is
was
that where the
different.
ESSER funds are gonna be at the clerk of court?
No, you would
Clerk
have to
of
open
council,
records.
clerk
request
of
that.
council, no?
All of the information about that money is on the Louisiana Department of Education website. You can see it broken down by school for Orleans Parish and Jefferson Parish, how much each school got.
Okay, because
Can
I
you
saw
hear that?
something about the whole state of Louisiana, but I never saw it broken down per parish. So where did you say you found that?
I have the website. Let me look it up real quick and I'll put it in the chat.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I found it was the clerk of council is where I was told, because is our county clerk. We have clerk of council. So I don't know if that's got records. I was just sent to NOLA.nextrequest.com for all of my records needs by the city council when I called it, by the records department, actually.
Hey, Jamie, on
Yeah.
our school board website, the ESSER information is it's already on there for my county.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great. Are you in Louisiana or are you in Tennessee?
No, I'm in Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee, they don't care. They're like, we're going to break the law and we're going to show you we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at it last night. Everything was on there. I was surprised how much information was on there.
Right. I know. That's why I haven't done as much in Tennessee as I have in New Orleans and Louisiana. It's because if I need to find it in Tennessee, I can find it quick, fast, and in a hurry normally.
Yeah, so I was thinking we don't have to go through all that. It's just right there, at least for my county. I don't know about the rest.
And then also there's going to be, I'd like to do one specifically just for Tennessee because there's some things going on in Tennessee that need to be addressed, like this exemption. And I want to say this, I work in a writing group. I've been working in a writing group for a very long time, within the past 2 years. And they helped this writing group that I work with and participate in. They have written documents for Siemens. And in this list of exemptions that I found, the Siemens was listed. So I'm wondering if every state implemented this exemption, but I don't think so, because Tennessee actually wrote legislation, and I'll share that here in a minute. But that's all I've got as far as what I've been working on and what I've been able to produce. Oh, I need to get y'all, I'm not gonna share these oaths of office simply because they have the physical addresses, and it's not because I'm trying to keep it from anybody, but that's going to be like our secret weapon once we get all our ducks in the row, is we can be able to send it straight to their house. And I don't want to scare them before we get all of our stuff together. You know what I mean? I'm talking about their insurance policies.
It's always good to have your ducks in a row.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I said it's always good to have your ducks in a row.
Absolutely. And we're getting there. For Louisiana, it's been a little harder than like Tennessee. I guess I got spoiled with Tennessee because everything's so accessible. They don't care. They're going to break the law and they're going to have a log of it. Louisiana, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. I think everything went online and they don't understand. They don't have one specific person that's over that. And if they do, that person still doesn't understand really what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And they don't understand how records work to be going and looking for them. When I worked, or whenever I walked into my county courthouse and I said I wanted the bond, they looked at me like, what? And I said it could be an insurance policy or a surety bond. And I said, can I just look at y'all's book and inspect it? And so they pulled it out and I just looked through it until I found I found what I was looking for.
What book did you look at? What was it called? What kind of, just the book or?
No, well, okay, so whenever you go into these county clerk houses or whatever it's called for your state, they're normally really big leather bound books. And that's where all these oaths are supposed to be sent off. And when they do their oath of office, before they do their oath of office, they're already supposed to have the insurance policy or the surety bond, the indemnity bond, or whatever it is that they're supposed to have. And you have to do a little bit of research on it. Like I said, for the schools, Bonds for the Win has it all. If you're looking for public officials like I am, you're going to have a little bit of delay because you can't just go down and look and get what you need. So it's they all have these things. They all have it. And I would love to go down to New Orleans and look at the open records, because I'm just like, what is going on down there, buddy? I don't know if they're there, because I'll say this. Hurricane Ida, they blamed a lot of stuff on Hurricane Ida. And I'm wondering if they've been destroying documents, using these natural disasters to make some documents go bye-bye.
That could be
The
considered.
Freemasons always say, never let a good crisis go to waste. I think Hillary Clinton says that too. So just, that's something to think about.
Was one more thing, was somebody gonna post, they said in the chat or on the Tennessee group about the ESSER funds? Is that what you said? The specific per parish?
I have that for Louisiana. I'm looking it up right now and I can post it. I'll post it in the Tennessee group in case we close here before I get it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Jamie, can I message you like tomorrow or something once I get some of our information together, just for Jefferson Parish?
Sorry, I was having trouble getting my mic open. Yes, you can message me tomorrow. I know Jessica's already messaged me. I'll be looking at that stuff. Once I start looking at it, I have been studying this for quite some time. I do have an understanding of how it works, but it is a puzzle. For Louisiana, for Tennessee, you can basically find, like I said, whatever you're looking for. But Louisiana, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because the French, you would think that the French would keep better records because they're so anal about their language. I don't know if you know this, but there's actually a language board and they pick what words go in and out so they don't have this sloppy language like English is now. I don't know if you
Well, it's the Napoleonic Code, but it's not necessarily the French. And let me just tell you one thing. I have, being French, the French administration is administrative stuff is even more to send you around and around and around. And we can only be grateful that neither the French nor the Americans or the Australians, because the Australians are by far the worst from what I gathered from paperwork and administration. So it could be worse. It could be better. But
well, you know what? I'm thinking the United Kingdom, they have like 680 positions for this like custodian work and nobody knows where to go. So it's like a rat race inside something that should be very, very, very simple. It should not be this difficult. It's pretty basic stuff we're talking here. The foundation of the nation.
yeah. And then I guess just to say the grand juries, that would be the kind of the work that we're leading into with the assemblies, right? Forming these grand juries.
Yes.
First, you establish your
Yes.
your assembly in your 3 weeks of hearing preamble, and then you start serving these affidavits, and then you gather your people and you make a grand jury. But that's another process once we've done the rest of it.
Well, you could, okay, so I think people should give their prosecutor and the grand jury that's in place an opportunity to do their job. And if they fail, absolutely do the General Assembly. That's what I would recommend, because you have to go through every single process and prove that it's failed.
Okay, so but how do I when I do deliver to Jason Williams's house, because who was it that had his address? Please contact me. Do you have my number? Whoever, I wasn't sure where that came from. Was that Jamie or was that Jessica or somebody else?
It was Jessica.
Okay, all right. So good to know. When I do deliver that to him, to avoid what the police said, we're like, well, that's federal. That's what's this got to, that we can't go arrest. What do you want me to go arrest Fauci?
Hey, we have the charter, the New Orleans charter. It's got its own Bill of Rights, and we can use that. We can write an affidavit based on the Louisiana Constitution and the charter Bill of Rights, and we can get their bonds and their oaths and hold them at that if that's how they want to play it, because they're screwed no matter what.
Yeah. Okay, so and just to note, I probably didn't handle it right with the police when they were saying, except that I did the best I could by citing the state laws, but because the actual Dr. David Martin document was dealing only with federal statutes, they had an exit as far as they were concerned. Oh, well, we don't.
That's fine. That's totally fine. The way I want to do it and the way I recommend everyone doing it is getting to know your charter. So I know there are people in here that are from different counties in Tennessee. you have a charter for your county, and there's actually a link for it in the People of Tennessee. I'll have to re-find it. I can't think of what the link's called, but there's a link where it tells the county in Tennessee, and it takes you to the charter for Tennessee. In the Orleans parish or any other parish, I know there's another parish on here. I can't think of two other ones. It's Baton Rouge and another one that's
Jefferson.
on here right now. You guys have a charter also. So you would look up, like, okay, for instance, what's a parish that I haven't named, or I don't have, we'll do Baton Rouge.
Jefferson.
Okay, yeah, I'll do Jefferson because it sounds like it's smaller. Jefferson Parish Charter. Let's see. Charter. Okay, see this one, it would be called a home rule charter. Is this Jefferson? Home rule charter, City of Kenner, Jefferson Parish. Is this it? I think it is.
Yes.
Is that yours? Okay, I'm gonna drop that in the chat.
We're a
and you
home
look-
rule, yeah. Well, what is that? What is that supposed to, what do we use that for?
Okay, so I'm gonna read it a little bit. I'm gonna go down and see if you have a Bill of Rights. Okay. Okay, so mayor, council, form of government. So this would be like, for instance, what I did in the FOIA request. I asked for the mayor and all the council members, their oaths and their bonds, because it's a mayor council form of government. So the council's supposed to vote, and the mayor basically is supposed to act. Let's go down here. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm going to see if there's a Bill of Rights.
Just while
'Cause I
you're
know-
looking, I'll say, I put the ESSR info in the Tennessee group. I found it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jessica. God bless you.
Okay, let's see. There should be, I'm still looking. Most of the charters, I'm going to be honest, is about proceedings. However, once you get more comfortable with this, I would, emergency. An emergency ordinance shall be adopted by the council by an affirmative vote of 2/3 of a quorum. So you need to open request this right here for Jefferson Parish, where they did the affirmative vote of 2/3 of a quorum. That's what you need to ask for, because this is what your charter says. If they cannot produce this to you, you need to go write an affidavit, which I'll help you with. You need to get your chronological order. That's what everyone needs to be working on, getting their cases in chronological order in accordance with emergency uses, executive orders. You can use studies if you would like, whatever helps build your case. There's really no wrong way to do it, but you need to stand on the fact that you are a living man or living woman. But like I said, I have a template. As long as you get the chronological order, it'll be all right. But this is pretty cool. This is for Jefferson Parish, and it says 2/3 of a quorum. So you need to find out if they voted on that. The mayor shall have the power to veto emergency ordinances within 1 hour after their adoption. But another affirmative vote of 2/3 of a quorum immediately after the mayor's veto shall override the veto. So you need, and this, okay, the Orleans charter has a very similar clause to this in it. And so does my county, I'm in Obion in Tennessee, and it has something similar. And like I said, the link to that is in the People of Tennessee group, and I would have to find it, but it's I think it's a university website that has that information. University of Tennessee. So if you look that up, or if you want to find that, that's where it would be. Okay, emergency ordinances shall be effective for no longer than 30 days after their adoption. So they're already, and this is what you do. You read their own set of laws that they've created for themselves and you use it against them. So whenever you get your chain of events together, what we'll do is we'll use certain stuff like this, page 17, to back up the fact that they're stripping you of their rights, that they're not even following their own set of rules that they've created. And so let's see if there's okay, I just saw audit and that caught my eye. Let's see if there's a okay, so here's another thing too. The council has the ability to open investigations, which I haven't found that in this one, but in New Orleans, that I remember specifically reading that. The Code of Ordinance, City of Kenner, the city attorney shall keep the code current. So you would in this parish, you would maybe ask for that open records, that the Code of Ordinances, City of Kenner, if you can't find it online. And let's see, I'm going to see if I can copy and paste this and see if we can find it. And then I'm just kind of trying to show y'all how to search for this stuff too, because it's a lot. Okay, do you want me, this is the code for your specific area. Do you want this for the Jefferson Parish?
Sure, sure. I'll take it.
Okay. Is that Kenner, Louisiana?
Yeah.
Louisiana confuses me so much.
Yeah,
I'm like,
well,
I don't even.
Kenner is part of Jefferson Parish, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, so it's like the county seat or the parish seat.
Jefferson Parish is pretty big, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I live in just a dinky little area, so. But whenever you look through the certain things, once you start getting familiar with it, will jump out at you. What I recommend is everyone first and foremost, if you have not read it, reading the Louisiana Constitution and the U.S. Bill of Rights, or if you're in Tennessee, the Tennessee Constitution.
So
And
I
if
went to
you-
look at the Louisiana Constitution. It was like 80 pages long. So I'm wondering which version, like, because I guess of all the
Actually, you just go look to the very first few ones, the very few, our right to privacy, our right to dignity, our right to, you know, this, like, it's all listed in the first few pages. So you don't have to go deep into it.
okay, like consider the Bill of Rights, the first portion
Yeah,
of it or something?
yeah, and I could pull it up real quick and just rattle them off. There's so I might have it here actually. No, let me see if I can get it before the end of the call without holding anybody up. But it's, I mean, and I was on this in the beginning. This is, I mean, I was just like, how is any of it what's going on? Not okay. Louisiana Constitution, Louisiana Constitution. The Louisiana Constitution hands over the Constitution to us, but let me see, the whole government to us. And I don't know how they took it away. All right, I'm gonna just click on it real quick and I'll let you know which. Okay, trying to tell me my connection is not private. Proceed. Trying to tell me a government page is unsafe. They really don't want me to like look up the Constitution.
No, they
Um,
don't. Oh, there was a warning on the U.S. Bill of Rights. This might be offensive. Really? To who?
What?
Um,
What? Oh my
Yes,
God.
they took it off. They finally took it off. Well, I don't know. It was on
All
there
right.
last time I checked. Somebody said that they took it off, but
All right, so
it's-
look, the preamble. We, the people of Louisiana, grateful to Almighty God for the civil, political, economic, and religious liberties we enjoy, and desiring to protect individual rights to live life, liberty, and property, afford opportunity for the fullest development of the individual, assure equality of rights, promote the health, safety, education, and welfare of the people, maintain a representative and orderly government, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and secure the blessings of freedom and justice to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this article. Okay. Declaration of Rights, Article 1. Origin and purpose of government. This is all government of right originates with the people, is founded on their will alone, and is instituted to protect the rights of the individual and for the good of the whole. So there is no whole without the individual. It's not and or, it's and, right? Its only legitimate ends are to secure justice for all, preserve peace, protect the rights, and promote the happiness and general welfare of the people. The rights enumerated in this article are inalienable by the state and shall be preserved inviolate by the state. We have a right to due process of law. We have a right to individual dignity. We have a right to property. We have a right, just going down here. Sorry, I'm going down. Right to privacy, which is these passports, freedom from intrusion, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and churches weren't allowed to congregate, right of assembly and petition, right to vote, right? Okay, so I mean, I don't know if vote was, but these are all, okay, my baby's crying for me, but these are so essential. Freedom from discrimination. I mean, right there. That's most of our Bill of Rights has been violated.
oh,
Right to a fair trial. But I mean, if our rights have been, if all of our essential freedoms have been taken away without us going to jail, then we didn't get a fair trial. I mean, it's what part of it wasn't violated. So anyway, I love the Louisiana Constitution.
well, I like all the constitutions.
Yeah,
'cause
all
it
of them.
says- yeah, because they work together. Because, for instance, if you had there are some states that have just a really weak, crappy constitution. And if you have a really weak, crappy constitution, you can use one or two amendments for your constitution and then back it up with some really, really strong amendments from somebody else's constitution in a different state. But these home charters are the foundation principles of each of your cities. So they're very, very important for you to know and understand what everyone's duty is in that city. And this one's 75 pages, but shoot, if you've got a printer, I'd print it off and make sure that they read it and be like, you got this long to read this, and I want it notarized, and you're going to take a quiz afterward, because I don't think that you know what you're doing.
So I have a question. So when we're
Sure.
requesting the bonds and they say there are no bonds in Louisiana and they're just sending us these insurance policies. So it's not one specific thing that we get that we know we got it. The thing is that we just need to read through everything they send us and find the little pieces in each policy that applies to what we think we can get after them for. Is that correct?
Well, most school policies, okay, so was it you that sent me a crimes policy? Somebody sent me a crimes policy. That's probably where you're going to have your information of if they've committed these crimes, what the repercussions are, which I haven't looked at that. Whenever I look at that, I'll get with you and we'll, if other people are interested, we can just do another chat specifically on that. But I need to look at that. And my fiance works on the boat. And so he's home for 28 days. So whenever he's home, I don't do this as much as I do when he's gone. So I haven't looked at it yet. I'm excited. I'm actually very, very interested. It's been killing me not to look at it. But that crimes policy, I think, is where you're going to find the information that you need to move forward, to put it in writing of the laws that they've broken, and even according to their insurance policy or bond or whatever it's called for the state or the county or whatever.
Okay. And then just out of curiosity, since you're in Tennessee, I was just curious, how did you get to be involved or interested in helping us down here in Orleans Parish in Louisiana?
I don't remember. I think it had something to do with divine intervention, I guess. I don't know. Somebody said, "Hey, you need to talk to this girl. She's real sweet." And next thing I know, there's Raphael, and we've been working together ever since.
Yeah, we got through the chlorine dioxide connection, and David introduced us originally, to give credit where it's due. But
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I know that one of the people that I worked with set it up. Her name's Kathleen. So she set it up to have a meeting with the chlorine dioxide. I think his name's David also. There's a lot of Davids. And then we had a meeting, and ever since that meeting, me and Raphael have been working on these things, and she's been going and doing it in New Orleans, and I've been trying to write stuff up and find what I can find and get stuff situated so we can go and move forward. But it's tedious, y'all, and I'm sorry. I wish we could just like say, "Hey, this is what we need," and get it right there, but it is tedious.
I'll tell you what, honestly, I think the getting signatures for the petition that are notarized is a pain in the freaking ass. I mean, it's one thing to have an event, get as many people to sign it as possible, but then how do you continue? Nobody's got time to go to a notary. It's just like, I
It's
wish I
okay.
want to become a notary.
I do too. And you make some good money with that, I've been told. So I want to get my notary also, but it's the fact that you have it. You petitioned your government for a redress of grievances, and they had till February 7th, and they didn't reply. And so now we're getting their insurance policies, and we're getting the affidavit, everyone's chronological, their specific chronological events, and we're going to put in affidavit. We're going to submit it to the insurance. We're going to submit it to the attorney general. We're going to submit it to the prosecutors in that parish. We're going to send it to the, I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry, y'all. I've been up since 5 a.m. So I'm just kind of like wonky-eyed right now. But there's a list of people that it will go to. And the point is to keep on putting pressure, and it's going to work. It's already working. Because they're putting, when did you drop that off, Raphael?
Well, are you talking about the David document?
Yeah.
Well, the David document was just yesterday. I doubt that I don't.
Okay, well, when did
But not
they
yesterday, it was
decide
Monday.
to-
It was Monday. Sorry, Valentine's Day, like it was supposed to.
when
right?
did they decide that the public was allowed to start going into places again?
It might have been after you were requesting records requests. I mean, or it could just be an
Well,
offshoot from all the trucker stuff, and it's finally getting to be a little bit,
Well, I think it's a combination of all of it. I think everything every push that everyone has put in every little spot is it's working.
It's
What
starting
we're
to be
doing
felt.
is working because there's more than us, more of us than there is of them. And if you guys can get into your courthouses or wherever the records are kept, I don't know what it's called for Louisiana, but if you can get in there and you can inspect those records. So if you go to inspect them, you're not supposed to be charged to inspect them. It's supposed to be free, and you can take pictures of the records with your phone. You do not have to get a certified copy if you do not want to get a certified copy. We just need to know that they have an oath of office. We need a picture of it, a good picture of it. I recommend getting the copy just for your records so that you have it. But if you don't have money, I know a lot of people right now are really, really struggling. Take a picture of it, take a picture of the back of it, just take pictures of everything. That way we at least know where their insurance company is. And if you're having trouble, comment in People of Tennessee, y'all communicate with each other. I'll stay in communication with everyone and we'll try to work through this as best as we can, because it's going to be I think with the schools, it's going to be quite a bit easier. I think with the elected officials, it's going to be, a little bit harder, a little bit more resistance, because they're starting to realize that they have messed up bad, and we know it.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you, Jamie, for everything you're doing and for being so generous to help not just the people of Tennessee, but the people of Louisiana. So we love
Yes,
you. And
thank you very much.
Extend
Yes,
honorary
Well,
citizenship to you, or nationalist.
Yeah. I just love my country, and I love my child, and I want my child to grow up in a country that is free. That's it.
Amen.
That's what I
Amen.
want. And that takes everybody getting on
Yes.
board. So if I have to donate my time and do this, I'll do it as long as it takes. And that's, I know Raphael's the same way, and a lot of people are the same way, because we've got no other choice now. We have to fight back. We can't just, it's not going to go away unless we
Right.
stomp it out, and not just stomp it out.
That's right.
If
Yeah.
they're rolling back, hoping that people go back to their lives, start watching football again.
We
start
can't
watching.
stop right now. We cannot stop. We have to follow through, even if they do back off, even if they stop, we got to follow through, because as soon as people stop, they just fake out. These guys they're not
Yeah.
just innocent bystanders. They are deliberate actors in treason. And so,
And they're being,
As you say,
being-
crimes have been committed.
yeah.
and continue to be committed.
Yes.
So
Jamie, you're herbs and pepper.
yes, I'm herbs and peppers.
And is Raphael, are you Dragonfire?
Yes, I am. I'm Dragonfire.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had my lines correct. Thank
Okay,
you.
sometimes I'm
both.
NOLA Butterfly, but that's on social media. So
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you. I'm gonna go tend to this screaming baby.
And I'm gonna get off here and get some sleep. Does anybody have any questions before I shut it off though?
No, thank you very much for everything.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stay in contact. In People of Tennessee, I might have to, I've been banned from speaking on Telegram in public groups, so I can't participate in Bonds for the Wind and a lot of other public groups anymore. So I might be moving my platform elsewhere. So I'm going to be looking at that, but I'm not going to do anything with my Telegram, with the Telegram group, until I get established somewhere else, because I'm tired of being censored.
Is that generally, or is that something Bonds for the Wind did? I don't
No,
understand.
Bonds for the Wind didn't do it. It was actually border wars. And it was because they keep on talking crap to I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to talk bad about them. They're doing their own thing, and they're doing God's work, and they're doing wonderful things down there at the border. And I'm not going to talk bad about them at all. However, I don't think that they understand the full magnitude of the situation that the nation is in as far as what's going on with the kids. I'll leave it at that. I'm talking about the kids in the nation, not the kids at the border. They know what's going on with the kids at the border.
Yeah.
So anyway, God bless you all. Thank you.
God
for
bless
being-
you.
Can I
God
ask
bless
one more
you.
question
God
before
bless
everyone
all.
gets off?
Yeah,
Is,
sure.
is, is
Sure, yeah.
anyone else here in the Bonds for the Win Louisiana group?
No, I'm not.
I didn't know there was
they
one.
had one.
There's
didn't
a
know
Bonds
either.
for the Win Louisiana group, and I've been trying to get information and compile there. So if you want to look that up, there's a
Oh, thank you.
specific Bonds for the Win Louisiana group.
Okay.
The
Will you
Telegram?
Yeah, Telegram.
Thank you.
Will you share the Telegram link in the People of Tennessee chat?
Yes.
And then did everybody come here from the People of Tennessee link?
No,
Yes, I did.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came from the link that Steven sent me with the
Yeah,
invite.
that was their link. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, great. That sounds like everybody knows where to get the information. We'll reconvene here in probably about a week or so. It might be a little bit longer than that. It depends on who gets what records. I recommend everyone trying to get some kind of records. Think about who who you think that you need to go after. I recommend if you're not experienced and you just want to try it out, getting the oath of office for the sheriff and the bond for the sheriff.
Sid
Yeah,
go.
that's
And
a
that
good place
could
to
be
start.
called,
Yeah, for sure.
say that again?
That's a good place to start. Good advice. Thank you. Yeah. The sheriff.
It is good advice because the sheriff is the highest, he's the highest officer in your county or your parish. I appreciate you all being here. Does it if we don't have any more questions, I'm gonna hop off.
Yeah. Good night. God
And-
bless.
Thank you.
Thank
Jessica,
you so
Jamie,
much.
I'm gonna look at what y'all sent me, and you two, we might get together a little bit sooner and go over what y'all have already gotten.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, all right, awesome. You guys are awesome. I'm so glad y'all are here. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Night, everyone.